Legendaries for tanky teams, Ludens for squishy teams, add a Sword Boots, Shadow Flame, and Zhonya's. See you next time. Who am I kidding here? This suggestion only works on two conditions. Either you rolled Azir in ARAM and only had 20 seconds to find out what to build, or ask teammates if they have rerolls to spare, or you are in Challenger where you face the same 50 players and less than 30 champions. I've seen stupid applications where people buy Legendaries when there are already 3 AP champions in your team, or buy Ludens when the enemy Kog'Maw and top lane Vayne rush Wit's End. Unlike your typical guides where popular item sets are introduced, I'm going to explain every single item's compatibility with Azir, along with some item synergies and my personal rating on the item, so you can pick 6 of them based on your preferences. Why is that, you may ask? Reason 1, I don't know your own preferred Azir playstyle. Azir ranges from DPS, Burst, Bruiser, Tank, Enchanter to even AD. Don't force yourself to build Burst Azir when you are used to DPS, even if there are 5 assassins in the enemy team. Similarly, if you are used to playing assassins or burst mages, I can't advise you to suddenly build DPS cause you won't feel comfortable doing that. Second reason, feel free to buy abnormal items when needed, even if it is not popular or meta. I got my new rank peak just by playing Frozen Heart Rush alone. Do you think Frozen Heart would get even a mention in any other Azir guide? I don't think so. Unusual items are not bad items. The final reason, you might even discover something new for Azir. By not providing an item set, I am trying to keep your creative vision wide. Starting with the AP Mythic items, I've categorized them into 3 categories: Tank Shredding, Utility, and Burst. In the Tank Shredding category, we first have Legendaries, which is catered against health stackers. With Legendaries having a CDR Mythic passive, it makes the Quad Soldier formation a lot easier to perform. Although it gives a max health burn, do remember that it is still magic damage. If the enemy team has a force of nature, you are not shredding them with Legendaries, you are buffing them. There is an extra benefit from Legendaries where you can reveal invisible champions such as Twitch and Evelynn. By the way, Legendaries can be used for both poke and DPS playstyles. Personal rating? 8 out of 10. So what do you do if the enemy team has a lot of MR? You can consider Riftmaker. Given its nature of a true damage amplifier, as there is no lost chapter in between the build path, you are not forced to build Riftmaker as the first item, which is a good thing cause more flexibility. Azir doesn't need to care about the Omnivamp the way he doesn't give a crap about Conqueror healing and Aerie shielding, so skip that nonsense of wasted stats. The extra true damage alone is worthwhile. Editing Shuvi here, I just realized Riftmaker has 15 CDR. I have bought this item several hundred times and I don't know why I didn't notice that. I'm giving it a 9.5 out of 10. Next up is the utility category. If the enemy team is filled with movement speed abusers such as the Hecarums, the Dariuses, the Vegars, the Lilias, so on, buy Everfrost. It's a free crowd control, you can pair it with Glacial Augment if you feel like it. 7 out of 10. If you are a support Azir main or you play mid lane like you play support, Imperial Mandate should be the choice for you. Just remember you have to build it as a second item and you have to have realized beforehand. 6.5 out of 10. I think you know by now that Crown, aka a B-Tech Banshee spell, is very easy to play around and has 0 offensive benefits. You can't buy Crown if you are building towards a full survivability item set. In order to make Crown just a bit viable, you must have Ingenious Hunter and Cosmic Insight. A measly 3 out of 10. If you want to dash further or one dash is not enough, you can consider Rocket Belt, but be aware that you can't press R or E mid Rocket Belt. 5 out of 10. If you prefer the burst playstyle, you can consider Night Harvester where you play like an assassin. Night Harvester got a huge CDR buff in the recent patch, making Night Harvester the AP Mythic that actually gives the highest CDR. Additionally, it is rumored that Fiendish Codex will be part of the build path for Night Harvester next patch, which makes it even better. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. You might be wondering now, where on earth is Ludens? I regard Ludens as a jack of all trades. It has tank shredding capabilities from its mythic passive Magic Pen. It also has utility where you increase your movement speed when it procs. It also has burst because of the item passive. However, its comprehensiveness comes with the fact that it is not the best in any of the 3 categories. In Cantonese, we call it 反而不精. To maximize the efficiency, prepare some item haste in your runes, because every soldier auto attack reduces the Luden's cooldown. Still gets a solid 8 out of 10 for me. Mythic passives have little to no impact until you get at least 3 items, so consider not rushing them first item, especially if the mythic you are building doesn't include Lost Chapter. Moving on to the context of AP legendary items. Starting off straight from the main dish, Nash's Tooth. Ever since Nash's no longer gives any CDR, people have been discussing whether this is a good item to build on Azir. In an environment where every champion has a dash, teleport, or movement speed buff, whether by items or their abilities, it is fairly easy for the enemy champions to get out of soldier range. As long as the game keeps creating new champions with multiple dashes, the value of Azir lasers keeps on increasing. Having an extra on-hit damage on your lasers, or even a recurve bow when you are building the item, stabilizes your DPS consistency and also reduces soldier reliance on CSing, which helps your mana management. In terms of raw stats, the 50% attack speed speeds up Conqueror and Lethal Tempo stacking, Comet and Luden's CDR, and lowers Hell of Blades and Electric Gills proccing difficulty. Highest attack speed item in the game, by the way. For people who play Azir for burst damage, its 100 AP is still very useful, my personal 10 out of 10 item. Ryla's Crystal Scepter. It is a very cheap item and has a very simple build path. The 30% slow on soldier autos keeps targets within attack range and facilitates kiting. Ryla's also unlocks other strong item choices that Azir originally cannot utilize. Examples include Imperial Mandates and Horizon's Focus, deserving a 9 out of 10. Speaking of Horizon Focus, if you have Ryla's, you can proc Horizon Focus anywhere with your soldiers. As you all know, the biggest counter to DPS champions is the Power of Grass. Horizon Focus solves this problem as it reveals vision. However, if you don't have Ryla's beforehand, you have to either land your Q or R or attack from 700 units away. For comparison, Azir's soldier summon range is 500 units, a 6.5 out of 10. Zhonya's, the only item that gives AP and armor, gives you a false sense of security for making unpragmatic plays. The 2.5 seconds isn't going to save your life if you drift in for plays. If anything, pressing Zhonya's after an Azir attack gives more than enough time for the enemy team to regroup after your knockback and time their skill shots. What's worse, Seeker's Arm Guard is such a trash item. When building Zhonya's, if you really need to, buy in the sequence of Cloth Armor, Stopwatch, Fiendish Codex, and lastly the full item. In terms of Zhonya's defensive capabilities, it doesn't help you survive most assassins. I learned the hard way that Zhonya's is a waste of gold against the Zeds, Talons, Kianas, Akalis, Katarinas, Graves, Lee Sins, Dianas, Kanes, etc. But do consider buying Zhonya's when the enemy champion full combo lasts less than 1 second, which includes Malphite and Lux. Personally, a 0 marks for me, but it would definitely be worth more for you. Banshee's Veil, the sole item with AP and MR. RIP Abyssal Scepter. It is a better version of Crown cause the shield won't get cancelled by a support auto attack. If you want to ruin the enemy assassin's life, which I guess most of us do, try out the Crown Zhonya's Banshee's Degenerate combo. Ignore the MR stats. Armor and magic resist share the same damage mitigation formula. Meanwhile, the AP you get from AP items are a lot higher than the AD you get from AD items. However, the magic resist you get from MR items are way less than the armor you get from armor items. This makes magic resist a fairly useless statistic. Notice what MR items are bought. People buy Banshees for the spell shield, the Spirit Visage for extra healing, more of Malmortius for the shield and Omnibev, and Vis End for the 40% attack speed and the 20% movement speed on hit. No one buys magic resist for the MR, they only buy it for the other stats and passives. If you want to be tanky against magic damage champions, it is more realistic for you to build more health than MR. If you really want to build MR, Force of Nature is the only good choice. Still gets a 6 for me because of the spell shield. Demonic Embrace is usually the go-to item for Bruiser Azir. It gives you half a Vladimir passive, basically the same as Legendaries, but instead of mana, you get health. If you want to go full Teemo on Azir, you can consider Legendaries plus Demonic Burn combo. A minor downside to Demonic Embrace is that you need to stack health items to get more AP. Wait a minute, most AP items have health. Never mind. You get a 9. Cosmic Drive gives a truckload of cooldown reduction. Along with the movement speed, I personally view it as the boost replacement item after full build. You can also view it as a mini phase rush that can help you kite. 8 out of 10. Shadow Flame, the definition of overhyped. Especially after the durability update where everyone has a lot of health. It is still suitable in situations where there are shields everywhere. For those who claim that its 100 AP is the reason for its being core worthy, they are ironically the same group of people who claim that Nashus is a trash item on Azir. Shadow Flame is a good item, but it is nowhere near top class. 6 out of 10. Morelos is in a very weird spot right now. The 90 AP and 300 HP for just 2.5k gold is very enticing, but Grievous Runes are in the worst spot in ages. If there is something like an Aatrox or a Soraka on the field, you can consider buying it as a second item. I guess a 6.5 is good enough. If you play Azir as some sort of Airy plus Moonstone support, you can consider Chemtech Purifier as your Grievous Rune choice instead of Morelos, but mostly it is very difficult to use it. Take a 4.5. Rabadon's Death Cap has the most annoying build path among all AP items, and is also very expensive. If you are building for control or utility, don't consider buying Rabadons. It is best synergized with several high AP items and Gathering Storm. 7 out of 10. Void Staff is the only realistic magic penetration item cause Flat Pen sucks. Despite the recent nerfs, you still have to build Void Staff when the enemy team has a lot of defensive items, because there is no other good choices. If you don't have a Riftmaker, you basically have to build Void Staff every 9 games out of 10, the one remaining game being the enemy team having 0 tank items. I'll give it a 7.5. Seraph's Embrace. Azir doesn't have any mana problems from the mid-game onwards. Mana flow band or presence of mind alone is enough for Azir. There is no point on getting that much mana on Azir. Heck, the 600 mana from the Lost Chapter Mythics are pointless. Never consider it unless you have Bronze 5 mana management. If you really need mana for the early game, you can just buy a tier first recall and sell it later like the Doran's items. 1 point is all you get. Lichbane. Buy it if you believe in the PTA Shin on hits Azir dream. I'll give it a 2. Yes, I rate it higher than Seraph's Embrace. Last but not least, Magi Soul Stealer. One word. Don't. It doesn't even deserve my rating. In terms of starting items, obviously you want to start with the Doran's Ring. If you really want to start with a Corrupting Potion, take Time Warp Tonic beforehand. And after your recall, make sure to do this. Moving on to boots. With the durability update, sword boots are no longer essential. You can still buy it if you are going for a full Magic Pen themed build. Berserker grips are for when you need more attack speed. CBR boots are especially useful if you use for summoners more frequent than your ultimate. For example, I use my barriers, exhausts and cleanses for small trades. Mertress are when you need tenacity. The 25 magic resist won't do crap. If you want to screw up the enemy auto attackers, Rush Ninja Tappies. Oh wait, it's called Plated Steel Caps now. These 5 pair of boots gets an equal rating of 8 out of 10 for me. If you want to be happy feet, you can buy a pair of Swifties. Try it against the Vel'Koz. You get a 6. Moby boots. Wait, this item still exists? As a mid-video summary for people who only play AP Azir, Azir is not like the typical overpick champions that has only one static item set, especially the Gore Drinker and Eclipse abusers. What Azir needs the most is neither AP nor attack speed, but cooldown reduction. Azir's highest scaling ability is only 60%. With such low scaling, your overall damage won't vary much whatever you buy, unless you are comparing a full tank build and a full AP build, of course. This shows that AP is not really that important for Azir. If you have enough cooldown reduction, it is fairly easy to get the W attack speed boost, showing that the higher the cooldown reduction, the higher the attack speed. If you prefer playing Burst Azir, you don't even need attack speed at all. Azir is all about soldier and self-positioning. You will want your Q and E cooldowns to be as low as possible. Hence, cooldown reduction is more important than attack speed on Azir. Of course, as mentioned from the start, prioritize on what fits your playstyle. For example, based on my personal playstyle, my utopian build would be CDR Boots, Nashers, Rallies, Horizon Focus, Riftmaker, and Demonic Embrace. If you are a frequent viewer of my channel, you may be wondering right now, where the heck is my Frozen Heart? Fear not, that's for the second part of the video where I analyze some items not mentioned once by any stat websites nor your challenger Azir influencers, aka the real tank, support, and AD items for Azir. For the AP Azir only players, you have watched everything you need, so good luck, have fun in your games. The rest of the information in this video is for the hardcore Azir enjoyers. Before anything, I would like to remind you that since 12.10, tank items are less in demand because everyone got tankier. Add to the fact that DPS champions are flying right now, especially the Kog'Maws and Kaos, tanks got a lot weaker. Unless if you play on. Since the durability update, Azir gets a base 90 armor and 52 magic resist at level 18, which is ridiculously high given Azir's design. Therefore, if you want to buy some tank items on Azir, buy them based on your vibes. If you want to deal damage on tank Azir, it is advised that you should be pairing your items with a Riftmaker. Then again, this video is to assess every item for Azir, so here we go, starting with the tank Mythics. Even Shroud has trash stats and build path. If all 5 enemy champions have hard CC, you can consider buying the item for 0.1 seconds then move on. It gets a 0. Frostfire Gauntlet has solid CDR and Barbie Cinder provides wave clear. It is the go-to choice if you want an Azir with max health. Given its Mythic passive, it synergizes well with Demonic Embrace. Also, the laser auto slow lets you kite better. It deserves a solid 6.5. If played correctly, the burn damage from Sunfire can rival Legendaries. Unfortunately, the build path for Sunfire sucks because of the Aegis of the Legion. Moreover, 3,200 gold for a tank item is a bit too expensive, though Sunfire can help you build the most tenacious Azir possible. A 5.5 is a reasonable result. Turbo Chemtank allows you to make Azir stacks without drifting in, so you can actually save your E for survival purposes. Having cooldown reduction as its mythic passive is always welcome, and also, the passive of Turbo Chemtank needs to be procced by lasers. I'll give Turbo Chemtank a 6. Moving on to the tank legendary items, we of course have to start this topic with this iconic item. It is literally at the center of my channel banner. Its 80 armor is only topped by a 90 armor Randuin's. The 400 mana is sufficient for early game needs and it is not too much mana to be wasted for late game. The 20 CDR speaks for itself. What's more, the Warden's Smell passive is the best thing you can have as an AFK farmer and lane freezer. What's unique about Frozen Heart is its cripple effect, where it gives an AoE attack speed drop. This is a boost in Azir's relative attack speed. When possessing a Frozen Heart, you can enjoy the enemy's auto-cancelling circuits, while screwing up Yasuo Yone Spellweb's Q cooldowns. Even Faker is struggling to damage Frozen Heart Azir. Personal rating? 1,000,000 spheres out of 1,000 Kuribos. Next up is Anathema's Chains. It provides a lot of health and has CDR. Given its lack of armor and magic resist, its purchase value actually increased with less public demand for armor and magic resist. When the enemy team has only one hyper carry and your team has a lot of hard CC, rush it. 8.5 out of 10. Deadman's Plate. Don't buy it for the armor, buy it to become an Formula 1 driver. You can actually save your drift and speed your way for your ult. Pair it with some DRS for extra pace. Do remember not to build it with a Nashers or any on-hit items because you need to avoid using any lasers in order to keep the extra move speed. One set of soft tires out of a set of intermediate tires. Abyssal Mask is a shadow of its former self. It does have melee flat magic pen, but it needs at least Shadow Flame and Demonic to make it viable. 0.2 Abyssal Scepters. Force of Nature is the sole item where magic resist means anything, which is such a depressing thing to say. If you buy Force of Nature against DPS AP champions, you can just take out your sunglasses and tell them to deal with it. May it be a Kael, a Kog'Maw, a Cassiopeia, a Singe, a Swain, or even an Azir mirror matchup. When it is fully stacked, it also nullifies Rylai's Slow. This is why I hate it when the enemy team builds a Force of Nature. Building Void Step won't help you because you are an APC. 5 orange out of 10 Maokai saplings. Again, as mentioned, tier items are trash on Azir, so off you go Fimbulwinter, unless you are playing some sort of full CDR Glacial Augment playstyle. 0.5 Seraph Embraces. Gargoyle Stoneplate, an active shield that scales with health, yet the item gives 0 health. Talking about contradictions, it also has arguably the most annoying build path in the game, mostly contributed by Aegis of the Legion. 3,200 gold for a tank item, so goddamn expensive. Where it does have the upside of having the most defensive stats, it is a feasible item for Azir enjoyers who likes to drift straight towards 5 enemies. You'll get a negative anathemas. Hullbreaker. We out here breaching the gates. If you have a lot of experience with sidelinking with Azir, you will realize that Azir is ironically good at split pushing. Pair Hullbreaker with Nashes and an AP elixir and suddenly you can outdamage a Scion. A trick 2G out of the Baus FFS. Randuin's Omen. It has the highest armor in the game. Remember that the crit mitigation is an active and not a passive. I'm saying this right now because I keep forgetting it. As it shares the lane freezing passive like Frozen Heart, don't build those two items together. A dead Tryndamere. Starax. Ignore the base AD. Azir's base AD from level 1 to 18 is one of the lowest in the game. If you stacked a lot of HP, you can consider it as a shock trap, a Walmart Hexdrinker. Sormail. The full item kinda sucks. If you need tank previous wounds, I suggest buy a Bramble Vest and move on and build other items first. 2,700 Rameses. Warmarks. This isn't ARAM, so you don't have to buy it every game. The bonus 1.1k health can be easily achieved with most Azir items having HP, and Voidmarks alone contributed to 800. It is best bought if you stay at the side lane for most of the late game. A Vine out of Fire. Spirit Visage is a healing amplifier where you can pair it with a Riftmaker. If you have a Soraka on your team, you can definitely consider buying it. Why only 15 magic resist? Tank item sets. Onwards to the support mythics. There is a common positive of support mythics is that they give mana regen instead of raw mana. Locket has a bad build path. Every time Aegis of the Legion appears, I will say the same thing. The shield has a decaying effect, not to mention post durability update all shields got nerfed, 4 out of 10. If you play every Azir support, Moonstone is the best choice to go with. The DPS nature of Sand Soldiers makes the healing way more consistent. It also enables Azir to fully utilize the Airy Keystone, 7.5 out of 10. Sheraria's Battlesong has a CDR Mythic passive, which is always a good thing for Azir. It also has a built-in speed boost both in the passive and the active, which gives Azir more room for kiting. Also gets a 7 out of 10. Given the nature that supports have a very low income, support legendary items have a common advantage where they are so freaking cheap. Beginning with Ardent Sensor, it requires an ally heal or shield item beforehand. It boosts Azir's attack speed and laser damage, 6 out of 10. Staff of Flowing Water nullifies your 10% durability nerf on Azir's Ease Shield. If you heal or shield an ally with other items, you get extra AP and 20 cooldown reduction for 4 seconds, 7 out of 10. If you play Azir as an ADC, just like a certain 2 million mastery Azir, make sure to tell your support to buy these 2 specific items.
It's free real estate.
Regarding the 4 starting support items, feel free to choose any of them depending on whether you like to poke or take cannon minions. I don't need to give these 4 items a rating because those are obligatory purchases. Knight's Vow. Don't use the active on someone who can't dodge skill shots. You won't know what kills you. If there's a hyper carry teammate, link it to him or her to get free healing. The 20 CDR is also good stuff. A 4 out of 10 because I think most League players don't enjoy single digit ping. Mikael's Blessing provides a crowd control cancel for your allies and also heals them. This allows your teammate to evade the Skarn attacks. Additionally, your E-Shield gets a 20% increase, 9 out of 10. Redemption lets you have something to do after you insta-die in an Azir. It also provides free right range vision, where you can check Baron or Dragons. The potential Baron steal gives you a guaranteed 0.5 level of XP. You need XP as Azir, and it is tough to get them as a support, 8.5 out of 10. Umbral Glaive. 1 laser, 1 ward. Need I say more? Take an 8. Vision of Warstone can store multiple pig quartz. Vision is very important because, as you all know, grass hard counters Azir. This item solves the problem of not being able to get 6 full items as a support. It gives 12% bonus health, AP, and CDR for only 1100 gold. Buy it ASAP when you finish the support quest. I'll give this item full marks if you play support. Ziggs is almost non-applicable on Azir because it requires your ult to proc the passive, which is such a shame given that both item components are very Azir friendly. Perhaps you can stack CDR to spam your ultimates if you really want to buy the item. Only a 2 out of 10 for me. Now to the finale of this video, AD items. Is anyone still here? Before anything, as far as I am concerned, if I have to rate between the 3 types of AD Azir, I will rank on-hit AD Azir the top, then crit Azir, and lethality Azir at the bottom. Also beware that some of the AD items below can be used in AP item sets, cause the items are too broken. Addressing the Mythics first, Divine Sunderer has Magic Pen for the Mythic passive for some reason, so it is actually fine to pair it with other AP items. Despite the price, its build path is user-friendly. If I recalled correctly, it is stated by the Bounce FFS that Divine Sunderer is Scion counter. Given its sheen properties, always remember to use lasers to deal max health damage and heal. Is anyone up for a Graph Sunderer Azir? I'll give this a rating of stop nerfing Rise when this broken item still exists. Dustblade makes your first laser auto into the invisibility on takedown helps you reposition for kiting. However, since Azir is ranged, you can't proc the slow. Can't you just name lethality as flat armor pen? Eclipse. The definition of broken for your most hated champions. It is a lethality item, yet it gives armor penetration as a mythic passive. You get a shield every 2 attacks or abilities, which means that with Azir, you can proc Eclipse just by using WQ auto. Oh yeah, right, it also has Omnivamp. If Eclipse isn't a lethality item, and the Eclipse shield on Azir has twice the cooldown, I would have picked Eclipse over the likes of Crown and Rocket Belt. Riot, please delete this item in the next preseason. The extra dash on Gale Force is nice for engaging and escaping. Mostly escaping. The 20% attack speed feels a bit underwhelming for a major ADC mythic. Besides, the 110 seconds of cooldown compared to the 40 seconds Rocket Belt is quite the difference. 0 skill Lucian one-shots.
But Danny is here to party and the evil geniuses are...
Ah yes, the You Never Die item. When using it on Azir, don't expect to do much on the damage, since the active damage scales with base AD, where Azir has one of the worst in the game. The healing on the other hand, a 15-second cooldown that scales with ability haste, when the item has 20 CDR and 7 per item is completely ridiculous. Press Gore Drinker and suddenly you are 70% health again. Less than 10 seconds later, Gore Drinker is up again. Please delete this item along with Eclipse Riot. Shield Bow. Higher survivability equals more time for laser kiting. It still has an underwhelming 20% attack speed. It has the upside where the bonus AD from the shield and mythic passive can compensate the poor base AD of Azir. Due to the limits of one lifeline item only, you can't pair Shield Bow with Maw or Sterak's. How the heck do you aim with a Shield Bow in real life? Kraken Slayer having 25% plus 10% per legendary item attack speed is a lot better than Shield Bow and Gale Force. It is best paired with Lethal Tempo Azir, where the more autos the better. Also, no base AD scaling shenanigans is always good for Azir. It's a free Vayne W passive. Prowler's Claw enables you to make Azir set plays from an even further distance. The range of Prowler's Claw is the same as Azir's Soldier summon range, so it is very easy for you to adapt the range. Sadly, since it is a lethality focused mythic, it is not as good since Azir has no physical abilities. I'll give it 4 Scion Zombie kills. Strikebreaker has an undesirable base AD scaling on its active. Having both attack speed and cooldown reduction in a mythic is very attractive. Its movement speed mythic passive also favors Azir in its kiting. Come to think of it, I might make a Strikebreaker Azir video later. Personal rating on Strikebreaker? Spoilers. Ah, Triforce. the Mythic to go for the PTA Sheen Azir Dream.
Starburst Stream.
Same as Strybreaker, Triforce provides both attack speed and CDR. Good news for you split pushers out there? It has a damage buff on turrets. Perhaps a split push Azir with Triforce, Nashus and Hullbreaker? The build path on Triforce is actually decent. Miles better than the Ages of the Legion. Rating? PTA Sheen Azir.
You're fired!
Chief, the planetarium party.
Oh, right, you're on fire.
AD Legendary items. We start off with Axiom Arc. The 25% attack speed is very impressive. Your ultimate's cooldown refunds on takedown is based on total cooldown. Match it with a bunch of CDR and Ultimate Hunter so you can build 2 walls in one teamfight. Donald Trump in an alternate universe. It is very easy to fully stack Black Cleaver with Azir, having an inborn 55% attack speed from the W. Also, since the durability update, Black Cleaver is basically the best armor shred item. The 30 CDR might be very useful if you max E second, cause when you play AD Azir you don't need to Q. Why isn't there an AP equivalent of Black Cleaver? Blade of the Rune King is an excellent item for every attack speed based champion. It helps Azir wave clear without using mana. The increase in movement speed while decrease in enemy move speed helps Azir to kite. If you plan to play on-hit Azir, this is a very good first item choice. In fact, after this item guide, the next upload will be a Bork Azir game. My rating on the item? Stay tuned for the next upload. BT is known for its high lifesteal and its extra shield can make Azir even beefier. However, the build path is bad, and whose idea is it to make BT a crit item? Bring back old BT. Campung Chainsword. The 25 CDR is a positive. Then again, Grievous Wounds are pointless stats. I'll give it a 0.5 clear kills. Death stats makes Azir less likely to get bursted. However, in the durability update, no one is going to burst Azir anyways, so this item can be skipped. And also, ranged champion effectiveness is 66% less. Give it 2 Steraks. Edge of Night is the AD version of Banshees, yet both items can be bought together. You can hard-heal assassins by building a combination of Crown, Banshees, Edge of Night, Zhonya's and Guardian Angel. If you want to build it like this, be advised to have some item haste beforehand. Get denied. The passive mana restoration from Essence Reaver is useless for Azir, as all you do as AD Azir is auto-attacking with lasers. Still Sheen Gaming. GA has a similar problem with Zhonya's. You are setting yourself up for enemy skill shots. Also, the item cooldown is way too long, 0.3 Zhonya's. Rageblade is an excellent item to have for on-hit lasers. I can already envision a Bork Triforce Rageblade Nashus Hullbreaker build. 45% attack speed? Yes please. Rating: Darth Sidious. Limited by the atrocious base AD, crit damage is always going to be low for Azir. Hence, IE is not a good item, not to mention the irritating build path. Season 3 was 9 years ago. If you think that it is a good game to buy Legendaries when you play AP Azir, buy Lord Dominic's when you play AD Azir. It is also used for health tank killing. Legendaries without Mythic passive. Mercurial Scimitar and Silver Mirror Dawn. These two are both Skarner tax items. To choose between the two, it depends if you want DRS or Garen W. Why is QSS built up for MR? More of Marmotius. The full item itself is actually a downgrade compared to Hex Trinker if you build it on Azir. The item's so broken I buy it on my AP build sometimes. A Corki. Mortal Reminder is a bunch of underwhelming stats, with only the 25 attack speed is somewhat useful for Azir. Please revert it into a Last Whisperer item. Mura Mana is ironically the best out of the 3 tier items, which shows how bad Seraph's Embrace is on Azir. It is applicable for any type of Azir playstyle. The reason for that is because soldiers proc it. However, there is one downside for both approaches on Azir. For the downside for AD Azir, the mana is completely unnecessary, while for AP Azir, you have to buy a tier then buy Manamune directly. Why are you so contradictory? Navori Quickblaze is only for your 0E cooldowns when you play full crit. Never buy it with a Rageblade.
Magic card Thousand Knife.
Phantom Dancer prevents you from getting body blocked by your own soldiers. This is very important. It also has a potential 55% attack speed, which I believe is the highest in the whole game. Say no to creep blocks. Rapid Fire allows you to have extra laser range. Since the passive auto from Rapid Fire is magic damage, you can use it on AP on hit Azir. You play this kind of Azir like you play TF. Rest in peace Static Shift. The more you know, you can proc Ravenous Hydra with your soldier autos. However, Titanic Hydra you cannot. Based on its build path, Ravenous Hydra for some reason has 20 CDR out of nowhere, who allowed ranged champions to have access to this item. Speaking of Titanic Hydra, the on-hit damage is less on ranged champions, so it is not that good of a choice for on-hit Azir. However, it is also the AD version of Demonic Abrase, where extra health is converted into AD. If you want to play full AD tank Azir, you can build a bunch of tank items, then build the Titanic Hydra to deal damage. Feels weird farming with it. Runa's Hurricane. It has 45% attack speed. It also helps with your wave clear and applies on hits. Pair it with a Rage Blade for maximum wave clear efficiency. Why can't the Runa's passive be lasers as well? Serpent's Fang is a unique shield cancellation item. You can proc it with Azir from afar with WQ. Of course, don't buy the item when the enemy team has no shields at all. Why can't you be this good Shadow Flame? There is a dilemma when you buy Serelda's Grudge on Azir. For AD Azir, you get the armor pen, but lasers won't proc the slows. As for AP Azir, soldiers proc the slows, but waste the armor pen. This item is not quite recommended for Azir, but you can try. You get the rating of a Mura mana. Storm Razor. I do not know why this item exists. What champion even builds this item in this day and age? Forgettable. Wit's End. It can be included as part of the on-hit Azir combo given its attack speed and passive on-hit. Flat Magic Pen? Never heard of it. Yumus. Similar to PD, it is another anti-body block option, but different to PD, it is a lethality item which has less use on Azir. It makes Moby Boots even more worthless with the passive move speed. Wait a minute, what is a pair of Moby Boots again? Collector? No. Okay, what's next? Oh, I've finished all the items. This is a guide, not a decree. You are always welcome to disagree with the opinions I just mentioned. Now go out there in your games and create chaos. Greetings everyone, Shubi here. If you're watching this, that means you have survived through 40 minutes of madness. Good job! This item guide took me over 2000 video and audio clips along with a 4K word script. I would like to use this short time to thank you for the support this whole time and share how this channel was created. To be honest, this channel started off with a complete accident. I was just your typical Azir enjoyer who stumbled upon a certain Azir guide at the start of Season 11, got impressed by his Azir ideology and joined his Discord server. After a while, I wanted to share some Azir clips on Discord, but the files are too large to be uploaded. That's when I figured that I can upload them on YouTube, then send the link to Discord. Hence, my earliest videos are so out of context and have a lot of Drifting Sands cameos. By the end of last year, I found out that one of my videos, the Lethal Temple pre-season video, got over 1000 views. That gave me the audacity to make an Azir guide for Season 12. I have time to spare because I am employed after university graduation, while not many people make Azir guides. Eventually, I made this without any editing knowledge. It popped off and you know the rest. I did not expect to hit 1000 subscribers this fast, so thank you so much once again. Anyways, see you next time.